Good evening and welcome to another Happy Hour with the Maestro. I'm Nick Palmer, music director and conductor of the North Charleston Pops. We've got a really fun show with two dear friends of mine and dear friends of the Pops who are going to be coming on in just a minute. Let's talk about our drink for the day, first of all. Now, you know what? I'm working on getting a green screen, like the weathermen use. That way, my drink is not always in the dark. It's in the light. So we're drinking red wine tonight, partially because some folks have said, Maestro, you only drink white wine and rosé. Do you ever drink red wine? Well, sometimes I do. This is a really good one. It's a Côte du Rhône, which means a wine from the banks of the Rhône River. That's in southern France. Let's taste it. Well, of course, we have to smell it first. Mighty good. It has cherries, berries, little earth in there, and it's made with 3 grapes. This wine's a little more complex than some of the wines that we have tried in the past. It has 3 grapes in it. It has the Grenache grape, which is grown in France, the United States, Spain, many different countries. It adds a real freshness to the wine. It has the Syrah grape, which is also called the Shiraz grape in South Africa, which adds a spice, and the Cinsault grape, which adds a floral character. It's a really nice wine. We want to thank Maestro Wines for our sponsorship, and right now we are doing some Zoom virtual tastings. If you would like to be involved, just text me, call me, email me. We'll get that together. Also, we want to thank the South Carolina Arts Commission and the Gaylord and Dorothy Donnelly Foundation. So, without further ado, 2 dear friends that I've known for a long time and are performers that you see frequently in the Pops, please welcome to Happy Hour with the Maestro, Lauren and Rob Murray. Hey guys!
Hello. How are you doing this evening?
I'm great. So, okay, so this is the happy hour. We need to know what kind of stuff you're drinking, and I know you both have a very elegant, cosmopolitan sort of drink going. Tell us about them.
You go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. Mine is the classic gin and tonic, which is a dear friend of mine. And I prefer Sapphire Gin for the nice floral character that it has. And of course, with a little lime wedge on there just to top it off.
Lovely adult beverage. Lauren, how about you? You have a very, very cool looking glass there.
Well, let me say that this drink actually goes with what you're drinking, Nick, in that it's a Manhattan. One of my favorites. I'm a Kentucky bourbon girl, and since when we lived in Kentucky, and we knew you there so well, I really got to love and enjoy a lot of different kinds of fantastic bourbons. And so since then, I've been a big fan of bourbon. So Manhattan's really one of my favorite drinks. But then I've got some really dark red Oregon cherries down there on the bottom that goes with your nice Côte du Rhône wine tonight.
Of course, yes. And we know Rob has spent a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest, so there's a little connection there in the Kentucky connection.
That's right.
Oh, that's great. That's a really great drink. That's a fabulous drink. So, we've known each other a long time, and both of you performed with me in Kentucky in Owensboro with the Owensboro Symphony. And that was a really wonderful experience for all of us. And it's so great that we've reconnected and have the opportunity to play in North Charleston. And I'm so glad, Lauren, that you're going to be joining us more regularly to perform. And the audience already is well acquainted with Rob in so many different ways. And we just saw you in the brass quintet.
Yeah, I got to tell you, my mother-in-law loved the concert.
She did.
and that is saying
I know.
Oh yeah, right. I know what you mean.
At one point, she was dancing. I have a picture of her. She's like, she was dancing.
That's great.
Yeah. And then I had several, like a lot of my family, they were watching it online, so they all loved it.
Among several other wonderful solo appearances and great ensemble appearances with the Pops. But tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. And I know you're both doing, especially Rob, a lot of traveling back and forth to be together and to work.
Yeah, well, I'll start off. My position officially is the trumpet professor at Columbus State University in Columbus, Georgia. So literally where I'm situated and where the School of Music is situated, I really can see Alabama out my window. So I'm
How nice.
right down there, way down on the Chattahoochee River, where I can look right across. So we live in Tampa, Florida, and I commute back and forth teaching through the week in Georgia, and as I like to say, then vacationing in Florida on the weekends.
Isn't that great? It's kind of like you have a girlfriend, right? Isn't it? It's funny. I'm that way with my wife. You know, she's in Florida a lot, and I'm in, you know, South Carolina or Kentucky, and I don't see her for a long time, and then we reunite, and it's lovely. Isn't it?
It is fantastic.
There you go. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So, and you have a wonderful trumpet studio at Columbus State. And in addition to that, you do a lot of other things with the International Trumpet Guild and other places. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm involved with International Trumpet Guild, frequently performing at conferences and doing presentations. I'm also the archivist for that organization as well, which has turned out to be really, really exciting scholarly and research work, but also great performance work, because we have a fantastic couple of music collections for the people that are listening that know a little bit about brass instruments. Vincent Bach, who's most well known for brass mouthpieces and trumpets, his entire music collection in the archives. So it's really kind of exciting to be able to be involved with that and kind of the ongoing process of learning how to curate some archives, because the music goes back to well before the turn of the 20th century. So it's kind of exciting. And in addition, like Lauren, I do a substantial amount of freelance work beyond that. So not so much recently, but
yeah, right.
certainly, I'd say one of the highlights within the last year, I got hired to perform with Mannheim Steamroller on their tour, and then also in their residency at Universal Studios for 5 weeks.
Nice.
That was really exciting, because that was a group that I've admired forever, and now I've got this connection with them, and I'll be performing regularly with that group. So I'm excited about that.
That's great. That's great. And Lauren, you do a lot of freelance performing in the whole Tampa, St. Pete, Tampa Bay area. Tell us a little bit about what keeps you busy down there.
I do a lot of oboe playing. I do a lot of teaching. I do a lot of master classes and outreach sorts of things. And so I get out a lot of, I like to do a lot of, I do a lot of music appreciation kinds of lectures. So I'm like this past couple of years, I was doing a lecture series down for retirees down in the Ruskin area at a place called the Firehouse, which is very cool. And I have been for the last 4 years actually been working at the Straz Center, the big performing arts center here in Tampa. But unfortunately, with COVID, that they've had to lay off quite a bit of their staff, including myself. And so I have been doing a lot. I'll be doing a lot more freelancing and oboe teaching now coming forward. But I've found that I've been teaching a lot of lessons online, and my students are really anxious to continue doing things virtually, which has been great. And so I'm kind of looking forward to sort of what this next adventure brings, as far as being able to perform online, being able to do lecture series. I've done some classes online already and that sort of thing. So that's what it's looking like, at least in the fall. It's going to be a lot of virtual teaching, a lot of online kinds of things, and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that we see with musicians, and I really applaud you for your resiliency, because it's so difficult for everybody, and we can't downplay that, and it's not something that you can just kind of tiptoe around. The reality is this is a really difficult time for performing artists, and for those of us that are able to find other ways to not only have a creative outlet, but to to earn some money doing it, and find new and different opportunities. That's it's a real challenge, and it's tough, because every day you got to kind of pound the pavement to figure that stuff out.
Yes.
So congratulations to you for being able to get on that road.
It's daunting, but I think that I'm kind of excited about maybe what this is going to do for us long term, as far as opening up new avenues for kind of new kinds of music and new kinds of ways to perform and new kinds of ways to reach people and new ways to teach. So I'm actually kind of excited about that.
That's great, and also too, it's exciting that you're doing things, with outreach, like in the senior center you mentioned. That kind of stuff is hugely important, and so many places, retirement homes and places like that, where people are not able to get out and hear any live music. So that's great that you're able to do that.
It's such a fun and appreciative audience. I just love them down there. I miss them. It's been, I've really been sad that I hadn't been able to go back the last few months. So I hope that I'll be able to get down there before too long, and see them.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So we've got a really fun concert this evening that you all have put together that we really are greatly appreciative of. Tell us about the first number that you're going to do.
Go ahead.
So we have four pieces that were written. So just a little bit kind of in general about what we do. We've been playing together, Rob and I, since before we were married, but so for about 20 plus years that we've been playing together. And we've actually had a new piece written for us almost every year. So we've really amassed quite an amazing repertoire for oboe and trumpet of new works. And most of everything that we have is for specifically just for us. We do have some pieces with electronics. There's a couple of pieces with percussion. But since we performed our recital for you with, in this space that you're looking at right here.
Yeah.
We just picked a few pieces that were just oboe and trumpet. And so the first piece is a piece by Cy Brandon called Brief Flirtation. And this is actually the first piece. There was kind of two pieces that were written right away for us when we first started playing together. But this was really our first kind of official commission that we did. And we wrote a grant, and we got this piece written for us. And Cy was very excited about the fact that we were married and playing as a duo. And so he wrote this piece dedicated to kind of a marriage. And, and so the three movements starts with innocent, kind of with our courtship, the idea of it being our courtship. And then the second movement is called sultry. And so you can imagine what that's about. And it's English horn and flugelhorn in the second movement. So it really adds to that sultry sound and feel. And then the last movement is called coy. And it's just sort of an upbeat, again, sort of, kind of, he was fascinated with representing our courtship and kind of the beginning of our marriage, because we were at the very beginning of our marriage at that time. So that's really what this first piece is all about. And it's we love it. We love playing it. And it was written in 2001. So the year.
Well, that's really exciting. And the fact that you're commissioning from composers that are interested in not only your relationship, but the fact that you play instruments that are interestingly compatible. And a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think that oboe and trumpet, but the timbre is very similar, even though they're wood and brass instruments. So we're eager to hear this. Let's listen in. Okay, perfect. Wow, that was awesome, you guys. I really love that piece. What a cool piece, and what a great depiction of courtship and romance. Need we say more? So what's up next? What's up next?
I also mentioned, Nick, you might be interested in this. Cy is actually a tuba player. So
Wow, what do you know? I like him even more.
There you go.
That's awesome. Great. All right, so what are we going to hear next, Rob?
Well, the next piece we've got for you, and it kind of plays off what you heard in the second movement of the three flirtations. And we found over the years that a lot of composers, once they hear a lot of our repertoire, they're very much taken with the sound of the English horn and the flugelhorn together. So this next piece is actually written by a former student of mine, Nathan Hudson, who is a trumpet player and studied with me at Columbus State. But along with his studies as a trumpet player, really worked hard into the composing area. So in fact, he's gotten all the way through, finished his doctorate at Stony Brook University in composition, and has since gone on and done a lot of great work. He just initiated a new trumpet competition this summer called the Next Generation Trumpet Competition, with 15 new trumpet works written by 5 different composers. So he's a really enterprising young man, and really, I think, has a great future. About the piece, Nathan wrote this piece, again, having a really good knowledge of what we did together, we play together quite often. And this is called In the Periphery. So it kind of explores some different meters. It explores some of the extremes of what we can do, both in the range of the instruments, but very, very, I think, very accessible to a listener, and also has some really, really kind of interesting, exciting moments. So I think you'll hear a lot of new music techniques that I don't think we have to go into technically, but really just a really fun piece to listen to.
That's great, and congratulations on all the connections you've made with students and others, to be able to keep in touch and watch their development, and then see the fruit of their labor and producing pieces like this that are really interesting and creative. So let's give it a listen.
All right.
All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Wow, that was really interesting. I love the complexity, but yet the accessibility of that piece. That really struck me as something really, really special, and I really enjoyed it. Congratulations.
We keep telling Nathan he needs to flush that piece out and do it, because it sounds like it could really be like an ensemble piece written for either wind ensemble or even orchestra, the way it sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it has a lot of different layers and interesting stuff going on in it. Cool. What's coming up next?
So this next piece is our most recent piece. It was written in 2019 by a composer called Howard Buss. And I don't know if you've heard of Howard, but Howard is an exceptionally prolific composer, and he lives just up the road. The last few years, so since I've been at the conservatory at the Strauss Center, I started a new works concert, kind of an annual new works concert, and I wanted to feature Florida composers, or at least try to feature a number of them if I could, on our new works concert. And so a couple of years ago, I played a piece for oboe and marimba by Howard. And he came to the concert, and Rob was playing on the concert. I can't remember what you were playing, but he was playing something also. And we talked to Howard. Maybe we were playing something together. I can't remember. But
That's great.
But yeah, and I talked to Howard, and he was completely he just was so excited about the idea of writing us a piece after he heard us play. And so we were like, yes, we would love for you to write us a piece. And so I happened to be performing a recital at the International Double Reed Society this summer. And so he decided to write us a piece that we could premiere at IDRS, but also perform on our new works concert at the conservatory at the Strauss Center. And so this piece called Totally Tubular. And so it's a play on,
Love the title.
Yeah, the fact that we both play tubular instruments,
Yeah.
and also, that we are totally tubular as a duo. And so each movement, the first one is called Initiations, and it's just a kind of a playful back and forth sort of oboe and trumpet movement. Rob is all on straight mute.
The harmony mute on this
Harmony mute,
one.
sorry.
And so the color exchange is really interesting. You really did a great job of setting up the sound exchange between the trumpet and the harmony mute with the oboe.
Yeah, and it's interesting how much when you listen to the first movement, how similar the oboe and the trumpet with the harmony mute in it sounds. I mean, our timbres are really similar when you put that harmony mute in there. And then the second movement is English horn and flugelhorn, and then the third movement is again trumpet and oboe. So the third movement The second movement's called Waveful, and the third movement is called Emanations. And so they're just these really nice, this again is another really accessible piece, but pretty complex in its own right. So we enjoy playing it. It's our newest piece, we're still learning it. You know, it's funny, these pieces, they take on a life of their own, and we play them for a long time. We do a lot of performing, we do a lot of traveling, and we play this music over and over again and really live with it and kind of get to know it. And so this piece is still new to us. So we're still kind of really we're really reading it, and it's still evolving. And so I'm looking forward to seeing where this piece goes, because I think it's gonna really turn out to be fantastic. It's already great, and so it's always fun to kind of see where a piece goes after.
I think one of the things that's kind of interesting, and especially with this piece, you'll kind of recognize this. Obviously the experience that Lauren and I have working with you, but also working in the pops with you, the composers are aware of the fact that we're just not straight on classical musicians. So especially like with this piece, you'll recognize that Howard kind of understands that we've got a little bit more in the toolbox in terms of being able to play a groove or play with a little bit different kind of style and ideas. So it's fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I talk about a lot on the show too, is that the musicians that we hire for the pops are very special musicians. They're musicians that have a wide range of talents and ability to play stylistically different types of things, because we might be playing a strictly classical piece, and then we might turn around and play, a rock piece, and then Broadway music, and then movie music. So it's important that we pick people that have that kind of range of experience in order to be able to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's check this out.
All right.
So Rob, tell us about this final piece, Daydreams. It sounds really fascinating.
It is, and there's a little bit of history that I just want to talk about for a moment. The composer Ray Johnson is actually my former high school band director, and we've maintained contact, as you can imagine, for well over 40 years now. And it's really amazing, because at the time I was growing up in high school and you know, an aspiring trumpet player. At that point, he was a phenomenal musician and a great trumpet player. I admired the skills he had, both in technique but also extreme high range. Really, you know, he was a lead trumpet player essentially, but also with great classical chops. And so we've maintained contact for all these years. And as Lauren and I have progressed along and had our duo going, he finally said, you know, I need to write you guys something, you know. And so we went out to Portland, Oregon 2 years ago. And at one of my alma maters, Portland State, we did an entire recital of just Ray Johnson's music. And this was the concluding piece. The recording you're going to see is from a concert we did at the Strass Center. So we actually have piano accompaniment on this one. Sarah Tellier is working with us. And this piece falls really into that sort of almost American songbook, I guess I would say. It's very much lyric. I mean, you can hear it. There's definitely a vocal sense to what we're doing. So this one, more than any of the others, will be something that would be really just melodic and you know, a little sentimental. I think it has a really engaging quality to it. So
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to add this particular video was taken from one of our New Works concerts, not here in our you know, in our media room where we're sitting right now. This is actually an excerpt from a video from this recital. So Sarah is our collaborative pianist at the conservatory, and so she's playing with us on this concert, and then, you know, that's part of that. So just to explain why suddenly we're on a stage.
Yeah, great.
That's right.
Sounds cool. All right, let's give it a listen.
All right.
Wow, that was amazing. I really love that. It was a cool setting, and it was great to have the pianist as well. And what a great closer and lyrical, interesting, cool piece. I can't thank you both enough for your great performance tonight.
Thank you. We're happy to do it.
Yep, really delighted to be part of this. So thank you, Nick.
Absolutely, and we are so thrilled that we are going to be back performing. It's not going to be for a little while yet, but we're excited about the brass band performing in November, and then for the full orchestra to get back on stage in January. But in the meantime, I wish you both Godspeed and the best of everything until we meet again. And thanks for, a really fun time tonight.
You bet. Thank you, Nick. And cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers. Santé, chin chin, all that good stuff. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah,
right.
You too. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you all for joining us for another happy hour with the Maestro. We really enjoyed being together with Rob and Lauren Murray for this great concert tonight. And once again, I want to thank Maestro Wines, the Gaylord and Dorothy Donnelly Foundation, and the South Carolina Arts Commission for their generous support. And we look forward to being back again next week for another happy hour with the Maestro. Thank you for watching.